8 signs. You're struggling emotionally, even if you seem strong on the outside. Let's be honest, it's easy to assume that someone who looks calm, composed, and capable on the outside must be thriving. But the truth, many people who appear strong are silently carrying heavy emotional loads behind their confident smiles and busy schedules. This article is for those who are always the rock for others, the ones who get things done, who keep smiling even when their hearts are heavy. If that sounds like you, it might be time to check in with yourself. Emotional struggles don't always look like breakdowns. They often wear the mask of strength. And recognizing the signs early can be the first, most compassionate step toward healing. Here are 8 subtle signs that you might be struggling emotionally, even if no one else can see it. 1. You always say you're fine. When someone asks how you're doing, you automatically say, I'm fine. It's quick, it's easy, and it deflects attention. But deep down, you know that fine doesn't really describe how you're feeling. You might not want to burden others, or maybe you feel like opening up would make things too real. But constantly brushing off your emotions can build a wall between you and genuine connection. Over time, pretending you're okay when you're not can leave you feeling even more isolated. If you notice that I'm fine has become your emotional armor, it might be time to reflect on what you're really feeling underneath. 2. You keep yourself constantly busy. Work, chores, social events, volunteer projects. Your calendar is packed. On the surface, it looks like productivity. But sometimes, staying constantly busy is a way to avoid sitting with uncomfortable feelings. When you're always in motion, there's no time to dwell on what hurts. But the truth is, distraction isn't healing. And eventually, your body and mind start to feel the weight of the avoidance. Burnout creeps in. You may find yourself exhausted, irritable, or emotionally numb. Busy isn't always bad. But when it becomes a strategy to outrun pain, it can backfire. Make space to pause, even if just for a few minutes a day, and ask yourself what you're really feeling. 3, you're the go-to person for everyone else. People lean on you. They trust you. They call you when things fall apart. And you're always there to help because that's who you are. But here's the thing. Being the strong one for everyone else can leave little room for your own vulnerability. When you're constantly giving and supporting, you may neglect your own emotional needs. Over time, this imbalance can lead to emotional exhaustion. You don't have to stop being reliable, but you do deserve support too. Consider asking yourself, when was the last time I shared what I was going through? Who do I lean on? 4, you struggle to sleep at night. During the day, you're holding it together. But at night, when the world quiets down, your mind ramps up. You might toss and turn, replay conversations, worry about things beyond your control, or simply feel a sense of unease you can't quite name. Difficulty sleeping is a common sign of unresolved emotional stress. It's your mind's way of signaling that something needs attention. While sleep issues can stem from many factors, if your restless nights coincide with emotional overwhelm, it's worth exploring deeper. A good night's sleep is more than rest. It's essential for emotional resilience. If sleep becomes elusive, it might be time to ask what your heart is trying to tell you. 5, you smile even when you're hurting. You're the one who always looks put together. You smile in photos, you crack jokes, you make others feel at ease. But behind the smile, there's a part of you that feels unseen and unheard. Using humor or cheerfulness to hide pain is incredibly common, especially for those who pride themselves on being strong. It can be a way to protect yourself from questions you're not ready to answer. But the more you pretend everything is okay, the harder it becomes to be vulnerable when you need to be. Authenticity doesn't mean you have to bare your soul to everyone, but allowing even one trusted person to see the real you can be incredibly healing. 6, you feel like you must always be strong. You might have learned early on that vulnerability equals weakness. Maybe you grew up in an environment where emotions weren't welcomed, or maybe you've been through tough seasons that taught you to put on a brave face no matter what. While strength is admirable, constant strength can become a heavy burden. When you feel like it's your job to keep everything together for your family, your friends, your coworkers, there's little room to fall apart, even for a moment. But true strength includes softness. It includes asking for help, taking breaks, and saying, I'm not okay. You don't have to carry everything alone. 7, you rarely talk about your feelings. When someone asks how you're doing, you keep it surface level. You might talk about work, your schedule, or the weather, anything but how you really feel. Maybe it feels too vulnerable. Maybe you don't want to be seen as dramatic, or maybe you're just so used to bottling things up that talking about emotions feels foreign. But when we avoid expressing our feelings, they don't disappear. They get buried deeper, showing up later as anxiety, frustration, or even physical symptoms. Finding safe ways to express your emotions, whether through journaling, therapy, or trusted conversations, can ease the internal pressure. 8. You joke about your struggles. You make people laugh. You can turn your pain into punchlines. And honestly, humor can be healing. But sometimes, joking about your struggles is a way to deflect and downplay them. Haha, I'm totally falling apart might sound funny in a group chat, but if there's truth behind the laugh, it deserves attention. Using humor to cope is valid, but it's important to ask yourself, am I laughing to lighten the load or to hide it? Behind the best comedians are often the most sensitive souls. It's okay to bring the laughter and the honesty. Final thoughts. Strength doesn't mean silence. If you see yourself in these signs, you're not alone. So many strong, capable people carry their emotional pain quietly, not because they want to suffer, but because they've been conditioned to cope silently. But healing begins with honesty. You don't have to crumble to ask for help. You don't have to fall apart to deserve support. The strongest thing you might do this week is simply say, I'm not okay, and I need someone to listen. Whether it's reaching out to a friend, seeing a therapist, or even just journaling your truth, every step toward emotional honesty is a step toward feeling lighter, freer, and more connected. You don't have to carry it all alone. You never did.